the top getting your story, and then the teaser coming in is like your mission statement or what you're about, or maybe it's just like a truncated couple of sentences about your story to set the tone for the podcast. Because I actually I wanted to do a podcast too, and so I was researching a little bit. It's like at the top of the podcast, people are gonna like I listen to podcasts a lot. I don't know if you do, but like I'll go and just click on one, and you get the gist of it through like the teaser at the beginning. And so I guess that's what I was talking about. Like, what is your story in very few words, and then maybe at the beginning you're telling your story to the first couple of podcasts, as well as getting into your processes with guests and things like that. If that makes sense to
It
you.
does. It does. Yeah, we actually just talked about that, and we listened to a few of those teasers. The one that we listened to, I think David thought it was a little too long and long-winded. But yeah,
I like what you're saying, Cheney, about
totally pick up what
just
you're putting
it,
down.
it very minimal of these sound bites that define you from the rooted man, not the feed them the long story later. You know, stretch out that story of the rich stories that you experienced and what you learned from, and then to you know, just to seed it because they want to be interested. Like, wow, who is he? You know,
And into like, so for episodes, just 'cause I listen to so many podcasts, and I'm sorry, stop me if I'm being intrusive on this, but I got really excited about it, and I'm like, oh, I would love to be part of like the production end of it, because it really inspired my imagination. And I listen to spiritual podcasts all the time, and I was telling David I want Signal Hill to
that's our
be
place, Signal Hill.
Okay.
to
That's a
be
studio.
to be a home for making the world a better place,
Wow.
and like a resource for people. So we have the Rooted Man podcast, and you had this woman who was coming in, and just for all different, like she was doing horoscopes. I know that's more fun, you know. You could have Thomas and Claudia doing a weekly meditation. There's so many people in Austin that are doing this work. But like for yours, I was imagining that the conversations that happen, they're not just like, okay, we're talking to this guy this week and we're going to just see what comes up in the conversation. That will happen. But maybe we're talking about the rooted man in group dynamic this week. And I'm bringing in this person because they have a story to tell. Or the rooted man at home, or the rooted man with a teenage daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like
Ah,
maybe
yeah.
different. Does that make any
It
sense to you? I
does.
don't. And I okay.
No, and
This week
just to
we're
clarify
talking
too,
about.
I am open and I want to co-create, like, so please, yes, I am open to receiving everything that you want to
Well, we've
share.
been playing
So,
around with podcasts, but like this is the first time that it's just so crystal. There's a crystal clear. You already have. You already have a way to talk about things, a mission, and you've been working with men now, so it's already there, and just to like orchestrate it to where it is super accessible to people, and when they tune into you, and there's things like, hey, I want to talk about um, I want to talk about my family, like going home and being with my family, or I want to talk about like why do I still get triggered in this situation? Like different themes for each conversation.
Tools
yeah.
to help.
No, that's beautiful. That's practical.
Yeah,
That's like,
In
hey,
that
I
way,
can
when you
walk
are,
away with
it was
something from
something. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
yeah, and then when they go and they look at the season, and you have your 10 podcasts that you've done, and then there's little titles for each podcast, and you have your guest, or you have a guest that's coming on to specifically talk about the work that you guys have done together with this particular issue, because
Mm,
then you have the title for the episode, so people can go and this is just from a user of podcasts. That's how I pick the episodes. Like I listen to a lot of parenting podcasts, and Brene Brown. That's a good one to go listen to. Her, Brene Brown. Do you know her work?
I do. Yeah.
So she's got a podcast out there. I mean, those are good ones to go and listen to get sort of like a format, because I think once you have the format and how it's going to be framed, then the conversation will just be so focused, and then it will go into all these other areas organically. But those were some thoughts I've had.
Yeah,
that
no, I
had
love
about
that, and the word you just used is that you there's an intent that's very intentional. The conversation and
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah. And you bring your partner on, one day, and you guys can talk. Like, that's an awesome episode, but it's all still within this framework of the rooted man,
Mm.
and it's similar for guys to go and listen to this kind of stuff, and women too. It's helpful for women to hear
I
about.
think wives would
We
like
know
to hear
about
it.
Huh?
I think partners would like to hear it, just about
Yes,
that
the
perspective.
pressure and the expectations you are putting on yourself, and why you're responding the way you do, and it's just like getting that understanding and that perspective. Anyway, I think it's gonna. I mean, I think it would be so great. I love the name. I love the work you're doing, and I think it could be an actual, legit, really well produced in the season of podcasts. I just immediately saw it.
So maybe
Wow.
we should plan another meeting where we can all kind of sit around a table for 45 minutes, an hour, and just kind of push the notes or start a text or something with getting an outline for the show. You think, Shani?
I'm not sure what the process would be. I want, like, what do you think, Javon? Because what was your how are you? What was your approach? How are you thinking about it? About maybe entering into something like this?
Well, I want to reiterate that I'm open to creating together.
Beautiful.
So that's just I want to be really clear on that. I love everything that you're saying about the format and structure of it. It feels right.
Great.
And so I'm a hell yes to wanting to move forward with this.
Yeah.
It's 100. It feels good, and I'm want to just further the discussion and just continue to.
Let's
just
try in
see
the
if we
next
can-
couple of weeks to get one up and make one happen.
And so what I can do is, like, maybe put some podcasts, like I'll make a list of some that we could all kind of listen to for different ideas, and you guys do too, because we'll see if, like, I think that's helpful. Listening to some that you love, that you get a lot out of, and then we can glean off of that what's working about this and what can apply to Rooted Man from this.
Mhm.
Then
I
get
have
some sort
several
of like
podcasts I love.
of a Bible, of a book, an outline for that. All of them are going to feel the same way, the same shape.
And then think about so, like, I love Russell Brand's podcast. They're totally different than what this is going to be, but what I love about it is just like, well, okay, one thing I think is really important is not for there not to be any political orientation of it. And I don't think that anyone needs to be alienated, in any way. Of course,
Sure.
you're going to have your viewpoint that's going to come through anyway, but without having to be overt about it.
Right.
That's one thing I really love about, like, Russell Brand's podcast. He's got a lot to say, but he never, he doesn't,
That is true.
not getting too political. Like, we, that's just, I think, a good thing to avoid, like, making it. I think that will come up, but being a little ambiguous, being open to both sides, that's just something I also wanted to say. What do you guys think about that?
And just staying off of politics altogether. It's not a
It might come up. It might come up that, like, having the conversation be more about, like, why is this so difficult? What
That was an interesting
you know?
conversation we had today about being duped.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Blaze after I talked to you, my writing partner, and he always says, "Well, tell me what happened with Javon today." I go, "Well, we talked about being duped, and I kind of went into that with him, and he goes, "It's true, man. It's true, Shani, like no matter what happened with this horrible virus and all, is that there's an element of it where people feel kind of duped, like,
No,
wow,
and
okay,
that's
time's
really
up.
no. That's what I love about Russell Brand. Like he can talk about all that stuff. He's like, well, we have this perspective over here. This group is feeling this way. This group is feeling this way. And I don't know what the truth is, but it's all very real, and everybody is valid in how they feel. Like he just has a way of like I know he's probably more liberal leaning, and but just the way he talks about it, it's so respectful. I guess
Yeah,
you know
I
that's
agree.
it.
I listened to his podcast too on YouTube, and that was one of the thoughts when I was listening to. I was like, his truth is just his truth. He doesn't like sometimes it's leaning more towards the left, and sometimes it's a bit more conservative. But he just touches on it from this place of like not really like doesn't seem like predetermined based on his stance.
Right.
It just is what
No,
it
he's
is
not
in that
trying to
moment.
lead
Yes.
anybody anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
And I like that. And I mean, I think that would be a pretty good ground rule. But he has guests that are very political leaning, and just the way he moves with them without ever becoming contentious, and it just feeling like everyone's so respected. Because it's weird right now with political conversations and public conversations. But I think that's what you do. You have to work with people from all different um, belief systems. So I
Right.
think that's going to be easy for you.
Okay, so we each just kind of jot down a few of the podcasts that we like,
Yeah.
And
maybe,
what we love about
and what we
them.
like about
We'll
it.
get a text between the three of us going, and we'll just kind of move on that, and then we'll do it again, like soon. Let's try to do one,
Well,
right?
let's. Yeah, I think we should put it on the schedule. You guys can talk about your schedule and just let me know, and I can pretty much make anything work. Um, and and then we think about like the length, and then what kind of do you have a lineup of guests? Have you thought about that? Just those kind of things that you can talk
Have I
about, and
thought about what a lineup?
like like guests you would have on.
Yeah, I've just gone through a few names in my head. I haven't reached out to anybody.
Just think about people like Thomas too, and like just people
Absolutely.
right here that he has access to. What about the
Yeah.
length of it? What do you think? We had talked. He and I were talking a little bit about it, but how long do you think?
Yeah, that's we're just saying that. So I can jive with the longer ones like the Joe Rogans, but I find that I do them in pieces, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of not fluff, but it just you listen for 2 hours and there's 10 minutes worth of really kind of like
Right.
potent takeaway.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then
You'll get those nuggets. Mhm.
exactly, and then a coach that I work with was saying, hey, like I challenge you guys to go the other route. Like everyone's trying to do these sit down interview, longer ones. See if you can compact something in 10, 15 minutes. And so I don't know.
Love that.
I don't know where I'm leaning with that.
I think it's
You could
manageable.
even do a conversation. You could even do a conversation and have it in parts, presented in
Mm,
parts. Part 1, part 2, part 3 of our conversation, and in smaller,
If
smaller time
if
snippets.
people care, if people, I mean, that's a long time to ask for someone's attention to come back to. I mean, I don't know. I don't listen to them really like you do.
Not if you go in different directions in the conversation.
Right.
If it's a good conversation, if there's enough there, and if not, you wouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah.
how long are Brene Brown's?
I'm not sure. Hers aren't as long.
Okay,
Um,
under 20 minutes,
I
you'd say.
haven't listened to a lot of hers. I've just listened to like, and who has some fun ones is RuPaul. He's got some really fun ones. But he's more in the entertainment. I'm gonna think of some more that I've listened to. I go through phases. I'll get on different ones.
So we were thinking like 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. What do you think? Is that too short?
30 minutes and under. Let's say 30 minutes and under.
Okay.
Because they don't have to be uniform. They
That's
can
true.
be,
Yeah,
but
that
they
is
could
true.
be like, I mean, there's.
Yeah, Brené's got
They can
36
vary a little.
minutes, an hour and 41, 32 minutes.
Yeah,
There's
they
a
don't have to be uniform,
gentleman
but maybe.
in Austin that's, I wouldn't say he's touching exactly on what we're touching on, but his name is Aubrey Marcus. Have you heard of him?
No.
He started a company called On It.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with that brand, but they're into like health and wellness, and he's very much into the spiritual, conscious community. But that'd be someone I would put down on that list of podcasts.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll do that. We'll get a list of people, and we'll get an outline with different kind of beat marks, little slug lines for the show. Little boom, 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 boom.
This is kind of a weird thing to reference, but I've watched it a couple times, and I've actually gotten a lot out of it. I watched it first out of curiosity, and then I really enjoyed it. Which is, have you seen those Red Table Talks with Jada Pinkett
Yes.
Smith?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. What do I think?
I mean,
of
a
that?
lot of it is a bit,
I mean, they seem like they
I mean,
pierce right in there, right? Like it seems that there's usually a specific subject or matter that they just pierce right into.
It's more controversial, but I do say, they really lean in and talk to each other, and that's what I like about it. And I think, they're all actors, so they've got, it's a little bit more sensational. It's not quite as, I think, process oriented is what this is going to be. But I don't know. I just thought that was another just kind of interesting. There's a couple things I found interesting with it, just that leaning in and really being honest. And I thought that was a little refreshing, but also a little sensational too. Not exactly that, but I didn't know if you'd ever seen that.
Yeah. How do you think a coaching session would come across? Like an actual session with the client broadcast on a podcast?
It would really I think it would be fascinating. I would be, and it would be so brave of a client to be willing to do that. And that could be, we're gonna maybe, something that you build up towards, like, once people get to know you a little bit and say, well, next week I have a special treat. We're gonna actually do a coaching session, and maybe I'm gonna try to make this something regular in my podcast because.
What you could
really
do.
Great things happen. Really great things happen, and I don't know. Listen to me.
I saw on the when I do the meeting with him on Zoom, if he hit record, I see if he's recording or not. But if he recorded someone with their permission and then took the excerpt from it, and said, "This is a piece from a session that I had with a person that was open to me sharing about this, and this is that little segment," then you would edit that into your podcast.
Yeah.
I just think that has more to do with the client.
Yeah, I just don't know what they would say. Maybe reenact one.
No, or speak anecdotally. But I think if someone that would agree to a coaching session, I would love to listen to something like that. Like that's something that I think is
you can get someone
powerful and helpful.
I'll call Blaze. He doesn't have any money, but he'd sure do a coaching session and let you broadcast it.
No, I mean, okay, this is cheesy. But think of like Dr. Phil. Although I've only ever seen little snippets of Dr. Phil. I mean, he does coaching sessions, and those are very popular. So it would be it would be rooted. Man, it wouldn't be sensational. It would be
Mm.
more of a quiet coaching session and intimate with these voices and the mic. So that could be really maybe that's the podcast
Is
that
this a
you just have
video?
to
Is this a
have.
video podcast or is this just audio?
Another good question.
Yeah.
I have no qualms about being on camera.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Hmm.
in
So
this
I
day and
don't.
age, why not have it? You know, if
Well,
they,
we could do both and choose if we were to release the video one out there,
oh, for sure.
online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can separate them.
Well, and it's kind of interesting right now. Like it would be, although it doesn't have to be like a Zoom thing, but I've seen that a lot. People are doing their podcast over Zoom, but the audio is so nice on those mics and so intimate. But I
Yeah.
think people are used to it that way as well. Um, you know what, I go for a walk and just imagine and visualize things, and I would say just keep doing that this week, Davon, and visualizing what you're imagining it to be, and we'll just keep honing in.
Yeah, I'll even play with just I think you were calling it like an intro teaser kind of deal. I'll even
Yeah,
start to just play with that and
yeah. Who are you? I'm Davon. I'm dad. I'm a whatever.
He's done kind of a
Uh,
bio thing on Instagram, like a stream of consciousness bio statement, but doing it a little bit more, getting strategic about it with selling the sound bites of him, without giving too much away.
yeah,
mm,
and just really sort really authentic to you and who you are. That's that will be how something like this will succeed, is how authentic it is to you and to who you are. You don't have to try to be anybody else or
It's true.
emulate anybody else. You just have to like hone in on what is authentic and real about you, and then just get it streamlined into that
mm.
format that's really user friendly.
All right.
Well, awesome. Yeah, this is pretty exciting.
There's our first 28-minute podcast right there.
Yay! I've just been chomping at the bit, and this one's just already built by virtue of what you do and your experience of what you do. And I really think it could be something so awesome.
Cool.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you, Shani, for sharing all your insights and yeah, looking forward to seeing what we create together.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be so presumptuous to do so, and pull me back at any and every moment, because I never want for you to feel like I'm imposing or in any way.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but I can feel your energy. It's not it's not coming across like that at all. But I appreciate you
Okay.
just putting that out there.
All right. So, wow, there's another evening of a great show on the road with Javon.
Woo! That's fun. It's just like a fun creative process.
Yeah. All right, baby.
No, that is not the music. I'm imposing myself. That is not the music.
All right. I'll see you in a while.
Okay, bye. So nice to meet you over the phone, Javon.
Yeah, great to connect. I'll talk to you soon.
And thanks for all the awesome work you're doing with David.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he is
Okay.
he's showing
Have
up
a great night.
powerfully.
I'm going to click off now.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.